Ready, Check Radio.
Stand by as we get ready to serve up all your news this week in the world of gaming. Welcome to Gaming Gumbo.
Why, hello. It's Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern. That means here on Ready Check Radio, it's time for Gaming Gumbo, your weekly gaming wrap-up. And that is 2 weeks in a row, so I can say weekly gaming wrap-up. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, a.k.a. Magic Man. This is episode 114. If you're watching on YouTube, listening on Audible, Spotify, any of those platforms, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Give it a like, a subscribe, a thumbs up. Turn on those notifications. Put comments down there. All the stuff to feed the algorithm. But most importantly, if you like what we do here, tell a friend and join us live. Website's right there, readycheckradio.com. All the backlog of this show, Relic Grind, everything else is all on there, and all the socials are in the upper right-hand corner. Makes it real easy for you to follow us. Joining me today to talk over some fun stuff, Mr. Dom Greco. Where are you today? Looks a lot more peaceful than Hunt Showdown's background last week.
Yeah, I just saw a Cybertruck drive by.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I had to write that up for Rocket League, and then I was like, oh, I might as well add the Fortnite stuff because it's all cross. And then I took great pleasure in adding a few links to that one when employees started talking about it too. So I'm sure we'll mention it a little later.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Also on the line, resident artist of Ready Check Radio, drinking from his Val official Gaming Gumbo mug. It's Yod. What's up, sir?
Drinking the tea.
He's sipping the Gaming Gumbo tea. That's what he's doing there. We got all kinds of fun stuff to chat about today. Ninja Panda's in chat asking when the Friday show is coming back. Oh, I assume you mean Always Online on MMO Bomb. Yeah, that one's a little rocky with timing right now. Actually, Troy, Noob Fridge, was supposed to be on today's show. Yod filled in at the last moment, so appreciate that, Yod. Thank you.
No problem.
Troy is in the middle of changing jobs, and his schedule is in the air, so Always Online, a little bit of a hiatus while that settles down. Hopefully, in the next few weeks, it'll come back. But, yeah, looking forward to doing the MMO Bomb podcast. That site actually makes me a paycheck, so go visit it. Let's talk. I mean, it's not much of a paycheck. It's a side hustle, but, you know, every cent helps. You know how it is. So I put on the show notes a very particular topic to start with because the hosts were going to be Dom and Troy. Mm-hmm. But I have since found out, after emergency reaching out to Yod, that Yod is also down with the topic. So
I am.
It's good. It'll work out. I was worried because I hate hero shooters. Like, I am so bad. You know what? It's not that I shouldn't say I hate hero shooters, like Overwatch and stuff like that. I'm just not good enough at them to make them fun for me to play. Like, I am so bad at them that I just piss people off, which then pisses me off, which then it's this just vicious gaming hate circle. So then I start throwing, and then I get booted and suspended for a little while. And then, so it's just this vicious hate circle. I'm sure if I put enough time into it, just like, I'm never going to be competitive or anything, right? But if I put enough time in it to just be competent with like a role or two or a character or two, that I would enjoy them a lot more. But yeah, I just occasionally play Overwatch with my kids. You know, it's not something...
You should have like jumped in sometimes, like when me and some of my friends are playing. Me and my buddy Arcade, we used to try to describe how to play like the most basic heroes, like Brigitte, who's like one of the easiest heroes to play, or was at least at the time. I don't know if they changed because I haven't played Overwatch in almost a year now. But we used to like take the easiest role and like overcomplicate it as much as you can to try to describe how to play it. We'd be like, so you want to hold left click into the left click button. You would take both your hands, you hold them up, you find out which one makes an L. Or no, we say your right hand, you use your right hand. So you hold it up, you find which one makes an L. That's not the one you want to use. You want to take your other hand. It was a whole long spiel that we had to like overcomplicate it. and we would be like laughing and crying
See,
every single time we brought a new person in.
I am not about to jump into Overwatch with you. One, I mean, I know your experience level, you are competent at them, and
Sure.
most of the people you play with are relatively competent at it, so I would just be a drag to begin with. But you also forget that I've raided with you. So there is no way I am going into a game with you that has any fewer than 10 to 20 party members so that things can be accommodated for when you and I just... Yeah, Dom and I have
Our
a history
shenanigans.
of actually trying to murder each other in a game without anybody in our raid or in our group knowing that we are intentionally trying to do it to the other one. So
Yeah.
now, I will admit that in World of Warcraft, I always have the leg up on you simply because I usually tank for our raid groups. And so I do have a little more control over getting Dom murked than in other games.
But what he fails to mention is I was the raid leader and guild leader at the time, so I could just tell the healers not to heal him, and that would work too.
Yeah,
you know?
Wow.
or we're all learning a fight, and he purposely miscalls a call out, and then the tank pulls the boss who's about to do an AOE right into the group because he called it out differently. It's just we have a lot of fun. We don't get a lot done, but we have a lot of fun.
Yeah, or Mike at the last second flipping the boss around during a cleave to cleave only me.
I love doing
that's
one of my
definitely never
favorites.
happened.
That's one of my favorites. Hey, don't stand by the tail, Dom. Incoming. Oh, you still stood by the tail. Oh no. Healers, don't use the battle res. We need it for later. So anyway, let's talk hero shooters, and let's start with Overwatch because while there usually isn't a lot going on the Overwatch front, a couple collabs and stuff like that, but it is what it is. Like Overwatch kind of does its thing. Here comes Lucio Ball, and now it's gone, and here comes the next event, and now it's gone. They do have a bit of an interesting discussion going on. And game director Aaron Keller actually kind of opened this can of worms early. About 2 weeks ago, he mentioned over on Twitter that he was going to do his next director's take, which is kind of like their producer letter, right? And that he was going to do it and was going to talk about 6v6. Now, if you need some catch-up, Overwatch was 6v6. Overwatch 2 changed to 5v5. It's been a subject of controversy for a long time. And
well, Overwatch 2 also supposedly was supposed to have a story
let's,
mode.
Yeah, let's just say Overwatch 2 has been a controversy for a long time across the board. But this did kind of open up the discussion, and kind of social media was like, if he's even going to talk about this, like he's probably pro 6v6 and everything. And he said it's going to take, a week to write this up. It's going to be long. It'll take a week to put it through translations and get all the copies ready to go. Well, that did pop this week about 48 hours ago. And there is all like the analysis that you would expect, right? Like, let's talk about some of the changes throughout history with Overwatch, not just on 5v5, but how some of these other changes impact the decision to go 5v5. And of course, the big ones are things they've already said before, right? Like 6v6 with 2 tanks leads to some tremendously high, exciting moments, but an awful lot of low moments too, where 2 teams are just basically in a stalemate until somebody can combo off some ultimates at the right time to break the stalemate. And it led to some stale matches more often than it probably should. The stacking of various tank abilities and things like that. And then, of course, the role queue was introduced, and that changed things even more, right? And all of this was in an effort to balance, right? I mean, that's what it all came down to. It was easier to balance the game if you role queue limited and you made it 5v5 instead of 6v6. And while I'm sure we can appreciate all that, I did like Yad when he points out that we recognize that while this made things easier to balance, it did take away some player engagement points, right? You might not necessarily be able to play the hero you want to play with the role queue. There's only 5 people in a group instead of 6. So queue times, how are those impacted? Are they shorter with 5v5? Are they longer with 6v6? Like, what's the situation there? So we saw all of that usual stuff,
Oh yeah, and I mean, balancing is an issue, but like, there's always the excitement of what happens when you get thrown a curveball
Yeah.
in a game like that. And with more players on the field, it's more likely to happen. There will be more exciting things going on. Once again, like you said, more player engagement. Different people playing things differently. I mean, lots of these types of games have that setup. So locking it down to the way they did with Overwatch 2 was a little boring, strange.
Yeah, and
Odd?
I see you nodding, Dom, because there is a section of the audience, a relatively vocal section of the audience, that feels that exact point that Yod made, that 5v5, even though 6v6 may have had a lot of slow moments because of the way 6v6 was structured, 5v5 feels more boring somehow.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. One of the things that I miss the most is having like the flex spot, right? And if they do go down the road of 6v6, I would still really much like the role queues, right? Go 5 role queues and then have like the 6th player be a flex spot where they could change
Ooh,
any role that they want, tank, healer, DPS, right?
a
And
wild card.
yeah, exactly. Like you go a wild card route because I I'm bored playing like a mercy type character, right? I play battle mercy, right? I heal when my players are at full health. I have my pistol out and I'm shooting just as much as any other healer, and I get flack for it. I'll pop my ultimate and chase somebody across the map with my wings down with a pistol and shoot them and fly back to my team and heal them.
That's awesome.
That's my playstyle of mercy, and it doesn't really work very well when it comes to like a lot of the healing and stuff you want to do. But like, I would much prefer to play like Ana or something like that. But there's a lot of healers that are not comfortable, especially like mercy mains. They're not comfortable playing a sniper as like a healer, right? So when you have like a Pharah on your team and they're flying around and you're trying to shoot them at range, they can't keep up with it. And they're like, but you can't play Mercy because Mercy's just getting picked off by the Widowmaker. So you need to play like a different hero to like compensate for the team. And it's just difficult. So if I'm not playing like Ana, I might want to play like Reaper and like flank the backline or something like that. But I can't do that because I'm stuck on a healer. Right. And
well,
I
that's
used to be
funny
able to do
because
that with Overwatch 1.
that's funny you say that because Aaron Keller kind of makes the exact opposite point when it comes to healers. He says that. Yeah, let me see here. Let me find it. Yeah. So making damage players 5v5 made damage players feel more valuable and more useful because it was more now about shooting than crowd control. And that was another decision that why they went to 5v5. But Keller also says that 5v5 allowed healers to do more than just heal too. That they could get in on the action. But you're saying the way you feel, it's actually the reverse? That 6v6 gave you a little more flexibility as a healer than 5v5 does?
6v6 allowed me to switch roles, right?
Right.
Like before they put that in. So if I wanted to go something that had more substantial DPS, I could do that. That's not to say I can't DPS as a healer because I definitely have the time to do it in 5v5. That I absolutely have that time. And that's not even my debate. My debate is as a healer, I can't necessarily get to the Widowmaker to do the damage because she can outsnipe me. Right, but as like a Reaper, I can teleport around the map and flank, and I have more options. And because role queue locks me into the healer role, I have no option to switch to DPS.
Gotcha.
So that's why if they do a 6th player, I would like a wildcard position that's just a flex spot. You can pick any role you want.
Well,
still structure the rest of it.
I mean, it's all well and good to run this analysis, talk about history and everything, but why do you put up a director's take if you're not going to do something about it? Well, apparently they are. You're going to get 6v6 back in Overwatch 2 in some capacity.
Are we also renaming it back to Overwatch?
1, yeah. It may just be for some testing and some feedback gathering. It may be a limited time mode. They may change some existing modes, Yod, to allow 6v6. They do want to experiment with this. Now, one of the big keys that Keller pointed out, which I do think is kind of funny, is that this is going to take, A, some time just to develop, but B, some extra time because the team does need to consider the game's performance. And by that, I mean frame rates and speeds, given some he says enhancements that they've made to Overwatch 2 might actually kill frame rates and speed if 12 players are in the match. So they kind of have to do some extra testing on that, which I think is funny because you actually put fewer characters on the board. And I don't know. It seemed to work fine in the original Overwatch. I hear that game did pretty well. There's also the impact to some other
Switch they have to worry about.
Right. There's other like they also don't want to impact core game modes right away. You know, maybe at some point it goes away 5v5 and just changes to 6v6, but they don't want to just murk the 5v5 main game modes they have while they're testing this stuff. So they have some ideas to possibly address queue times in a 6v6 world again. They may not work. There's an awful lot of testing, but at some point, maybe Overwatch 2 rolls back to a straight 6v6 standard format.
Yeah,
maybe it stays as a limited time mode. Maybe it stays as an alternate mode. I don't know. I can't see it remaining like a permanent alternate mode. I think that totally just wrecks queue times on both sides of the board, doesn't it?
So
like you have queues for
does.
6v6 and queues for 5v5, and both teams are just sitting there, right?
Right. It probably does. The way I see it, because of how they've handled Overwatch 2 since inception, is that it's going to be whatever is easiest for them. Not what makes it fun, not what makes the money, not what players actually want.
I think you're wrong on the makes the money front.
Well, they
They're just
always
a small
want
indie company.
that the making the money part. Yeah, they want it, but of course they're gonna make the mistake like they did initially when they made Overwatch 2. It's like, yes, it's gonna be so awesome, blah blah blah. It's gonna have a single player story mode. It's gonna have this. It's gonna have that, and then it gets pared down to a 5v5 shooter kind of with roles that you play how they want you to play, and then the money trickles in slowly or not at all because nobody wants to play it. That's what I'm saying by the money goes. It's not going to be a priority because they think it's going to happen anyways, but it's not going to happen because nobody's going to want to play it.
It is weird seeing the position right now, Dom, that not just Overwatch is in, but also Hearthstone. And I didn't put this in the show notes, but Hearthstone just launched its new expansion, and there was a little bit of an uproar when data miners got a hold of the expansion ahead of time and saw that there was no new board in this particular expansion being added. And then all this time goes by, and they posted a letter yesterday where they kind of did the same thing. Like, we hear your feedback. We haven't been communicating as clearly as we should be with our player base, and you're the most important thing to us. And but it ended with, we're not doing 3 boards a year anymore. We're doing 1 board per year in Overwatch, and we're going to use that time to develop other things. Like, they want to potentially do a feature that lets you just pick the board that you're playing on or randomize the board that you're playing. They want to do some stuff with that. But it's weird seeing both of these games kind of, I don't want to say directionless because that's the wrong word. I believe that there is a direction that they're headed, but both games just kind of feel like the wind hit the sails of the boat and nobody's quite sure what direction they're moving in now because the winds came. Like, Overwatch 2 feels like there's almost a buyer's regret on Blizzard's side where they're like, you know what, maybe we should have just fucking stuck with Overwatch 1. And like, maybe Overwatch 2 was just an entirely bad move. And, Hearthstone kind of seems the same way. World of Warcraft got a violent redirect in the whole World Soul Saga triple expansion pack direction and story direction, we think. So it's an interesting time to be watching these games coming from Blizz and what's going on.
I mean, I will say for Hearthstone, with the Perils in Paradise expansion, I haven't heard too much negative things about it. So if the biggest complaint is there's not a new board, I think they're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm really just focused in on the battleground, so I don't really pay too much attention to like what's going on outside of the battlegrounds mode. But I don't know, like what's the saying? No bad news is good news or something.
Right.
Or,
no news is good news. Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah.
So no, go ahead, Tom. Go ahead.
No, and I was just gonna say with World of Warcraft, they just launched the pre-patch, right? And they're supposed to have this big pre-patch event. And I get that they went to go put in like all these new systems in place, but like they had their big patch like this last Tuesday or whatever it was, and the patch was down for like the entirety of the day. It came back up at like midnight Eastern. And I booted it up for like 5 minutes because I was like, oh, I'll check out the pre-launch event, and it wasn't even active yet. And then the big feature, which was the warband, the banks, that was deactivated because there was some bug. And it's like, I get like stuff happens or whatever, but it felt very underwhelming to me. And it's like, is this like a precursor to like what's to come? Because I'm already skeptical right now, you know?
Torchwick in chat says, every now and then I look into getting back into Hearthstone, and every time I can't figure out what it wants me to treat as the game's main mode.
That's fair. Not Mercenaries. Mercenaries, while fun, they've completely abandoned it. They're not doing it anymore. So
my only thing with Hearthstone is I'm more when it comes to CCGs and TCGs, which I absolutely love. You think I'd be all over Hearthstone? I am more into those games where there's interaction between us during a turn. And Hearthstone is one of those I slap my stuff down, and now it's your turn to answer it. And if you can, great. Now it's my turn to answer what you did. I like the games that are more interactive. You do something on your turn, and I have a chance to do something in response.
Final Fantasy turn-based combat. What more can you want?
True. And I'm using the Transformers B-roll here because Yad, our resident artist, is just like pining now for an Overwatch Transformers full anime series.
I mean, maybe not Transformers Overwatch, but I mean, so this is one of the things that I think is the core issue with the Overwatch.
This trailer
franchise.
is straight fire, by the way.
I know.
Is.
And why isn't this animation company doing full-on animated features? But that's besides the point. The thing is that the core issue with the Overwatch franchise was the original promise. The original promise that was given with the original Overwatch is that you get this game. The game itself may be PvP based, but Blizzard themselves was going to produce comics, novels, movies, animated features, feature-length animations, not just character introductions, but animated features to go along with this for a story base, a lore, your world to go with this games, to fuel you wanting to play this game. And it just kind of poofed.
Yeah. Ninja Panda's asking the same question. Why haven't they made an anime or movie on Overwatch yet? Yeah. To Cal, remind me, what's a WoW pre-patch? Is that like 14's .55 patches? Yeah, kind of. Like the .55 patch goes in and puts like this little bit of stuff to do right before the expansion launches, kind of a prelude-esque type thing.
The segue.
And that's exactly what WoW's pre-patch is. It's the .55 or the .58 in some years for Final Fantasy. On the other side of the board, though, hero shooter fans unite because there's about to be, I mean, there's been Overwatch clones right and left since the original Overwatch, right? And we have a ton of different options out there. But I've got to say, NetEase, NetEase has got one that I think could maybe grab some Overwatch fans by the short hairs and drag them over for a little bit. I don't know if you can cause them, and Dom's been excited about this since it was announced. I kind of view Marvel Rivals as like you're dating Overwatch and maybe you have a sneaky one-night stand with Marvel Rivals. Like maybe that's the way it works. Like you're not ready to break up with Overwatch yet, but maybe you sneak over to Marvel Rivals' house, once a month or so and have some fun. It's in closed beta right now. It's a very limited closed beta, only a couple of days. The footage you're watching is actually our gameplay action video over at MMO Bomb. We did have access to this, so Troy was checking out the gameplay and just giving some very basic initial thoughts. It was more to show you the gameplay, our gameplay action series. Imagine that. Obviously, we'll have a full first look where we go into its cash shop and all the modes and everything. It's very limited what you can access in beta. Dom, are you in beta? I know you were trying very hard to get in. Did you?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, friend.
I didn't make it.
I would have hit you with a key had I known that.
It's all right.
My bad. I had like 5 extra ones. I gave them away on Twitter. I should have asked. I'm a bad friend.
No worries, no worries. I've been really busy, and I honestly wouldn't have had the time for it anyway. So don't stress it.
He's playing Magneto, by the way, in this footage, and that's kind of hard to tell from behind. Like the model doesn't exactly scream Magneto from behind.
So-
It's I know the variant and everything. I get it.
Right.
But
So this is what I think would actually Marvel Rivals has the edge over Overwatch with. Is that because their characters do have all that lore already set up, and there's the multiverse where they can pull.
yeah, I mean, we
infinite
already
numbers
have
of
Adam
designs.
Warlock, so they've already
Right.
hit the cosmics, so that opens up
Right.
a whole plethora of characters they can add from the cosmics.
Exactly, and with all the variants, like you said, there's an infinite number of costumes that you can choose from, whether they look like themselves or not. In this case, Magneto, it's kind of odd looking with the weird halo thing on his back.
I will say, watching his gameplay, and I didn't personally play it, I felt like me taking one of those beta keys was going to be a waste just because of my skill level and my schedule this week anyway on a very limited closed beta. So I'm just watching the footage. I love the destructible environments, Dom.
Mhm.
Yes,
That's
Yes,
very
that is,
cool.
like, that's my favorite aspect about it.
And you can, like, I forget what key it is. It's tab or M or whatever it is, but you can kind of like scan to see what environments are destructible.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so like you can catch somebody behind them and just murk the environment and get them on the other side. We don't know a lot about like monetization. It is going to be free to play. We know that, and so it's probably going to have its various hero rotations, violently cosmetic cash shop with 90 variants of every. Oh, this is
yeah.
the Iron Man from the Bajubaba universe in
yeah.
1975, and like they can go all the way down
Right.
those roads too.
Battle Pass.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. They are going to do a battle pass. I mean, they could have something here, Dom. And NetEase doesn't have the best track record when it comes to monetization, but this path has been blazed for you. Like, you can't screw this up unless you want to screw this up.
Yeah. That's like coming out with a Marvel game that locks Spider-Man to Sony.
Still so bitter. So bitter.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, they can't screw this monetization up, right? It does look to me like it needs a little more polished. Again, it is a closed beta, so there's a little bit of rough edging and animation-y stuff that I saw in Troy's footage that I was like, yeah, it's not as smooth or as polished as Overwatch yet. But Overwatch has a decade lead on them, like they got to work all this stuff out. And I kind of have hope. Overwatch, to me, has always needed a competitor. Blizzard, as a whole, has always done better and more interesting things to me. Maybe this is just rose-colored glasses. I don't know. But when they had a valid competitor, World of Warcraft got stagnant for a long time after kind of like the Wrath of the Lich King era. Let's say after Pandaria, because Pandaria had its faults, but was generally a well-received expansion. The reputation grinds were ridiculous. But after that, it really kind of just was like, oh, well, we have everybody. What do we do? We'll just take a feature or two from these other smaller games that people seem to like. Now that Final Fantasy XIV is what it is, we've seen a lot of Blizzard reactionary stuff over the last couple of years. And that's a good thing. Overwatch has never really had... There have been other hero shooters. There have been other solid performing hero shooters. But it's never had direct competition, Dom. A game that you looked at and you were like, if I'm only going to play one, I don't know if the one's Overwatch anymore.
Yeah.
This,
But that's just it. When you
this
don't have
could be it.
competition.
The IP really helps.
Yeah.
It does.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely helps. But that's just it. When you don't have competition, you fall into complacency, right? And you don't try to make improvements. You don't try to reinvent the wheel, right? You know it works. It's working for you. So you fall stagnant. And somebody else will come along that's willing to make those changes or whatever. And then, you have to react at that point. You have no choice, so.
Got to admit that it's smart that NetEase sunk the money into the IP. Like, that's an insanely smart move. They could have just done what NetEase historically does in some of these other, particularly Eastern countries or Eastern companies, right? NCSofts, NetEases, Gamigo, like those companies that either pick up lesser games and just kind of let them die while they generate some revenue, or they develop something, but you could feel it's like a little bit of a knockoff. Oh, they wanted to do an Overwatch, but they didn't want to spend Overwatch money to make it.
Oh,
There's a lot of money going into this. A lot of money going into this.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it just... It looks good, and I'm watching the video as it plays while we're talking. And the gameplay looks really solid. And I mean, everything that they've put into it. I mean, the SDCC little special they did, I watched on IGN, I think, where they were talking to some of the voice actors and stuff. And they went all out on the lore and stuff, buying the shark, Jeff, the land shark. Adorable.
I had to put his video in.
Yeah.
He's just too damn cute. Yeah, Thor and Jeff the Land Shark kind of crashed the beta. There were like 21 characters in the beta, and then all of a sudden, for like the last couple of days of beta, Thor and Jeff the Land Shark crashed into the beta without players knowing. So that was kind of a cool little, hey, thanks, beta players. Now mess with this if you want to.
And apparently they have Galactus's daughter narrating all of it, which... The voice actor they got sounds, she's got a good voice, doing it really well. It's nice to see the Galactus' daughter character come out because, as far as I know, she actually does have a comic back in the day. I think she was created by Adam Warren, who did a lot of the kind of anime-based comics back in the late '90s, early 2000s. So they've got a lot of neat ideas and a lot of visual attraction to it. I mean, I've played Overwatch. I've played those hero shooter type games. They're not my favorite, but like you said, they spent the money on the IP, and the IP might have, like you, Mike, dragged me into this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give it a whirl. I gave Overwatch a whirl. I still, again, play it occasionally. I've definitely played this a little bit. How long I stick with it, I don't know.
Yeah, and the IP characters might actually hold the attention of more people that are like us, which are more casual PvP shooter players.
Right.
Because we have that attachment to certain characters, whether we can play them well or not.
Hey, let's move on. EA was doing EA things.
Oh God.
Yeah. So back on July 8th. I wrote an article on MMO Bomb that Apex Legends was changing the way they did their seasons as far as battle passes and stuff like that. They were not only dividing the battle pass into 2 splits and charging for each split, and they said, hey, the reason we're doing this is we can make the splits shorter. We can put better rewards in them because we're not putting as many levels in there. We can avoid rewards people aren't using from the past. We don't have to put those into rotation anymore. But hey, by the way, we're going to charge you for both splits. And the other key factor, there were a lot of other changes in here too, but I don't want to go into all of the minutia. I do want to get this one though, because in addition to splitting the battle pass into 2 splits that you had to pay for, they were also removing the ability to buy the season pass with Apex coins, the in-game currency, the cash shop currency, which you can, like other free-to-play games, earn some of in the battle pass, right? I think, like Rocket League, I think I've maybe paid for 3 of the seasons that I've actually purchased. I've bought every season since it became free-to-play, but I've only actually shelled out cash for 2 or 3 of them because I end up getting to like a level 150 or 250, depending on the season in Rocket League. I earn all the free cash, and then I just buy the next battle pass with that. They were taking that ability away, which Apex players previously did have the ability to do. And they were making it cash only, homie. That's it. Cash only.
Wow.
Now, I ended that first piece with, just remember that even if they do walk back the cash requirement for purchase, this was after I talked about 5 or 6 other changes too, but I specifically jumped on that one. They're still breaking the season into 2 splits at a higher price point if you want the passes for the entire season. No matter what, they may or may not roll back. You saw what they wanted to do. Because I knew this was getting rolled back. It had to.
Yep.
It was such an EA thing to do. Well,
They
rolled it back this week. They rolled it back this week. The key change in the rollback was the Apex coins cash only for the battle pass here. In their statement, they say, let me pull this up here so I can actually read it. They said, it's Orange. You've spoken and we listened. God, how many times have we heard that? With the release of Season 22, we will restore the ability to get the Premium Battle Pass for 950 Apex coins. We recognize that we could have handled the Battle Pass changes better. That's on us. With the launch of Season 22 on August 6th through Split 1, we want to give you an opportunity to get the Premium Battle Pass. You can unlock it by just completing a series of simple in-game challenges. That was they were giving the first split of the new season away for free so that they could, the first hit's always free.
Of course.
Starting with Split 2 on September 17th, you can get the Premium Battle Passes the same way as before. By using 950 Apex coins, you'll be able to earn enough Apex coins via the Battle Pass to get future passes, and the Battle Pass options now include better rewards with the retuned Battle Pass challenges. It'll be faster to complete at only 60 levels. So absolutely walked back. It was so predictable that this was going to be walked back. It was so predictable. I can't believe Respawn Entertainment thought that this was going to fly, Dom. This had to be EA saying, this is the way we're going to go. Respawn probably saying, players are going to riot. And EA saying, no, they'll suck it up. And they didn't.
Yeah. It's very difficult because like you have a feature in the game, right, that has been there forever, and then you take it away. And you can't expect it to go well, right? This is the same model Fortnite uses, right? Like you can use your V-Bucks.
It's the same model most Battle Pass games use.
But imagine, like you have Fortnite with the V-Bucks, right? You buy your Battle Pass, whatever. You can earn more V-Bucks as you go through your Battle Pass. And then all of a sudden they're just like, oh, you can't buy that with the Battle Pass, with the V-Bucks anymore. You have to pay real money for that. Yeah. People would riot. It wouldn't last.
When we do first look videos on games, Yod, free to play games when they come out, this is, if they have a Battle Pass, this is something we specifically point out in those first look videos. If a Battle Pass does not include the ability to earn the cash shop currency, we point that out in a first look video so that going into it, they ain't giving you anything free here, bro.
Right.
Like, you got to pay every time they do a Battle Pass. And if a company wants to do that, I'm fine with it. Then you better create an engaging enough experience that I want to support you and give you the money to do it. But there are so many games out there that just give you the ability that if you play our game enough, the next Battle Pass is going to be on us, but you got to play enough to get that it's noticeable when a game doesn't do that.
Right. Right. And, if the game is engaging enough that, you sink your life into it, that you're playing it, 2-3 hours a day, every day to get that battle pass, that next battle pass, and it is engaging enough for you to do that, engaging enough for enough people to do that, more power to you. But you better make that game, engaging. If you're just going to want the cash, you better make that game worth the cash.
They rolled it back, and I did end my second piece on the update on the rollback with a quote from my first piece, which was, you saw what they wanted to do. The cat's out of the bag. You saw the way they wanted to take this. Before we move on to some miscellaneous stuff, I don't want to spend too much time on it. I just kind of saw this and was like, what the fuck? Magic the Gathering, and which Hasbro itself is going to get into digital games a lot more, by the way. We talked about that a few weeks, and there was some leadership changes. An ex-WoW head is now in charge over there. An ex-Blizzard head is now in charge over there. They've been doing some crossovers lately. Some of them pretty cool, right? Like the Dungeons and Dragons crossover. That was pretty well received with the Magic the Gathering cards. They have a Final Fantasy one coming that I feel like they've been teasing that one forever. There was a Evil Dead and a Princess Bride crossover with like secret lairs of their own. All very like fantasy stuff, right? Kind of fitting with the vibe a little bit. They're getting another crossover, and I just like, I want to know what the meeting sounded like. Like when they were sitting around wondering what the next crossover was going to be. Because your next Magic, or one of your next Magic the Gathering crossovers is going to be with Monty Python.
I mean, sure, why not? You need a couple Vorpal rabbits and, you know,
Rabbit of Cabernog.
mhm, and the a few Black Knights that can survive complete dismemberment.
Yeah, specifically, by the way, it's Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Exactly. There's your fantasy element.
Okay. Secret Lair senior product designer Daniel Wynn said this was a really fun one to get. It's kind of a funny pairing. They seem such different ideas, but I think the cards came together really nicely, and it's just very quaint to see on Magic cards. Also went on to say that, hey, you know, if fun is someone on the other side is actually a Magic fan, that does happen quite often. So yeah, I mean, I guess, sure, why not? I just thought it was like, what? Lord of the Rings. Well, they did do a Lord of the Rings one. I mean, that was the whole deal with the One Ring card, remember?
Right.
Like, there was a one of one serialized One Ring card, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, does the Black Knight have a skill called Tis But a Scratch? I would hope so. Okay, so let's talk about some miscellaneous news. Gaming news makes me happy sometimes, not often, but not often these days. But sometimes gaming news can make me very happy. San Diego Comic-Con, obviously. I think that, wraps today? It's been going on for the last couple of days. Tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, tomorrow,
I think
Monday.
Sunday. So
Yeah.
is it Sunday or Monday? It's wrapping in a day or two. Whatever. All right, fine. I'll look it up.
That was a 4-day con.
28th, tomorrow. Yeah, 28th. Tomorrow.
Okay.
This, I am showing you. Yeah, I knew it was currently live. I didn't know when it completed. I knew it was live. God damn it. This is the Soul Reaver 2 trailer from back in the day. And we have talked about Blood Omen, Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver on this show multiple times. Why am I bringing it up here? Oh, Raziel, my boy. I hope this is true. Because we got this little image from San Diego Comic-Con, and this is a little QR code that's on a little index card in a glass case where some figures from Soul Reaver are being displayed. And if you look at that, Dom. Look at it.
I see it.
It says Soul Reaver 1 and 2 Remastered. Yeah, it is the Dark Horse Comics logo. Yeah. Well, the figures, right? That's what this was for. But why label it 1 and 2 Remastered?
Where does the QR code lead you?
I don't know. Did you try it?
I did not. I haven't had a chance to.
I don't know. Let's see.
You didn't try it, Mike?
I did not. Did you?
No. I just assumed you did, so I didn't bother.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if I'm going to be able to catch it on my screen here. Oh, wait. I did catch it. Okay. Oh, no, I didn't catch it. All right, I'm going to pull up the...
Not going.
There we go. I should be able to get it now. Yes. Take me. Well, I mean, don't take me, but... Scan.
Dark Horse Direct sign up. Newsletter sign up page.
Oh, fuck it.
Well,
Yeah.
that's no fun.
I don't need that. Now, I hope that this is not just... Yeah, you have a green screen behind you. That was the worst image you could ever show.
Yeah,
It was just
yeah,
like...
I just thought of.
It was just
oh
like...
my God.
It was perfect, flawless.
Like, I hope they're not calling these figures the remasters, right? Because they were balls crazy figures. They were beautiful figures. But, like, you can't, right? Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remastered, that has to be a a reference to the video game being remastered, and these are character models that we have done based on the. Oh, God, I hope so.
No, I can't, because Crystal Dynamics is known for remaking games, right? They just like, what was their most recent one? Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remastered. So, it seems right up, like it lines up. So,
Well, I mean, remember we talked about on this show. What was it? I think 2 years ago they were doing surveys. Yod, do you remember that?
Yeah, I
Yeah, we
think
talked
so.
about on
Yeah.
this show that they were like Crystal Dynamics was sending out surveys where like Legacy of Kain was mentioned on them, and they were trying to get feedback, and because at that point there was like all the Square Enix and who's going where and stuff, and who's going to control Crystal Dynamics, who's going to control Tomb Raider, Legacy of Kain, and all that stuff. And I you bet your ass I took that survey. You bet your ass I took that survey. Oh, I want to see this so bad.
apparently they're also working with Xbox to do the Perfect Dark re-release or whatever.
Oh God, yeah,
Remastered.
that's been a while, right?
So, and I mean, and they made your favorite game, Marvel's Avengers. So,
Oh yeah, I mean, it was totally in their wheelhouse. Yeah,
Yes.
Square Enix shoving a live service down a single player developer with massive single player narrative game experience. You never played either. Heard they're pretty good though. You can play them on Steam, but you got to do a little work. Like they don't. It's not hard. You can look up a guide real quick to kind of put some files here and there to make it, but you can play them on Steam. I mean, or you can just, I don't know, I'm sure there's a way to find those things, online and do those.
There's always a way.
Do those things that maybe my Steam Deck does really well. But they are officially on Steam. Some of them, not all of them. But the Soul Reaver series, you can go. Yeah, that's it. That's what EPSXE is for, sir. I have no idea what you're talking about. No idea. Now, Duck Station, I know what you're talking. Sorry, I had something in my throat. Hey, Blizzard gang just formed what is the second largest union inside Activision as a whole. And yet another union to be formed under the Microsoft umbrella. Now, Activision's largest union is a little over 600 strong, but that was specifically tied to QA workers. This new union is basically the entire World of Warcraft team. It's like 500 plus people strong. Excuse me. And it is across all departments. This is what they call a wall-to-wall union. When your role or your department doesn't matter, you work for a specific company or organization, and you are covered. So it's across all departments. This is the WoW Game Makers Guild, which is supported by CWA, the Communication Workers of America. They have officially unionized Microsoft again, just like they did with Bethesda's wall-to-wall union they created a week ago, and we talked about on this show, and a couple of unions created along the way. Microsoft again voluntarily recognizing the union, and says, we look forward to fruitful contract negotiations. From the team at Microsoft, they told Variety, we continue to support our employees' right to choose how they are represented in the workplace, and we will engage in good faith negotiations with the CWA as we work towards a collective bargaining agreement. And that has been their stance since actually before Activision, that purchase was done, because they were getting asked about it because Activision was not exactly receiving attempted unionization in a positive way at the time. And so people asked Microsoft, what are you going to do when you're in charge? And they said, we remain neutral on this. Employees are free to do what they want. We remain neutral. And they continue to voluntarily recognize them. This isn't Microsoft's first foray into union stuff, Dom. I mean, they've had a few unions form over the last 3 to 5 years or so in various departments within Microsoft as a whole and in various countries. Now, when you get outside of the United States, the rules change on what you can and cannot do with union employees and negotiations. So it would be unfair for me to predict what might happen with negotiations here in the U.S. compared to negotiations in other countries. The laws are just way different country by country. But it seems that Microsoft has, in fact, engaged in some good faith negotiations in most cases. And there were even cases where the union members themselves voted to not strike because the union opted not to accept contracts overseas. And the union members thought the contract was fair and represented what they wanted and that the union should not reject it, and they voted not to strike. So it seems like this could be a good thing, but where we're really going to have to wait is to see how those contract negotiations play out.
Yep.
That's all you got. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
This could be a tipping point, right? These ZeniMax, or the Bethesda one, the Activision one, these are big. They're wall to wall. They're across departments. They're in big companies.
I mean,
If these employees, Yad, are able to get protections, guarantees, and things like that in their union contract that you just don't see other gaming companies offer its employees, you could have a big tipping point across the industry right now.
Right, but I mean, Microsoft at this point really has no choice but to say, yeah, you can do what you want. You can,
Officially,
officially,
yes.
Yeah, representation, how you want to represent.
Like you can't go union busting and intimidating and stopping people. But Activision got accused of that stuff behind the scenes. And Yad is frozen. Yad's going on strike. Son of a... Yad's gone on strike. He's gone on strike. So that's a good thing in gaming. But a year and a half after SAG-AFTRA negotiated a year deal with video game companies, they have now gone on strike, effective yesterday, because negotiations have continued to break down, specifically when it comes to voice actors in video games and AI usage of their voice or similar voices. Not a good thing to be seeing at the same time, Dom.
No. So this is for AI, right?
That was the sticking point. And video game companies have kind of responded like, we ended up agreeing to 25 out of 26 terms. It's sad to see SAG-AFTRA back away from the table over this one, but it's a pretty big one. It's a pretty big one.
Yeah. Am I back?
You're back. Welcome back. You're now... Oh, no, I think you froze again. He was back. Go ahead, Dom.
Hi. I mean, this is interesting because like AI has been very like unregulated, and there's a lot of like controversial things going on with AI.
Just Dom's eyes.
I'm just hi. But like I don't know, because like I see the use for UI. There's definitely a lot of like good usages for it, but the methods in which a lot of AI is being trained and taught things, and how it pulls its information, how it gains information, is not great.
Yeah, I mean, there were just accusations this last week that there was a leaked document that kind of indicated that Runway's Gen 3 AI, that video tool, may have been trained on YouTube videos without copyright permissions.
Yeah. Is that the same one that like got Markiplier and all them that was like training off of their videos?
So the story I saw didn't specifically point to any creators themselves, but I know like James Stephanie Sterling did a whole video on it, and so I assume it's if it's not this service, it's a very similar service.
Okay.
But yeah,
okay.
So, and we saw what we talked on the show, like Warner Brothers and Sony are going after music AI tools for being trained on their copyrighted material without their permission. But then these other tools, oh yeah, well, you made a YouTube video, Dom. Sorry, that's training material for the AI.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that.
Yes, I'm just in time.
Yeah, you're just in time. Here's an example, too, by the way. There are accusations that this yokai skin in Call of Duty was AI created. without
Yes,
without
so-
players' knowledge, by the way. Now, we don't know if the whole bundle was AI created. We're specifically talking about the skin, which was sold in a bundle. But yeah, Modern Warfare 3's yokai skin was created by AI, according to Wired.com. The bundle ran 1,500 Call of Duty points. It came with the skin, a weapon blueprint, a loading screen, a calling card, and a sticker. And the skin, according to Wired, was made using AI. Don't know if the whole bundle or not. This was released despite previous guarantees by Activision that AI would not be used for final assets. They were telling all of their developers it's simply for internal concepting that they were using AI for. That does not
which is
seem
still shitty.
that does not seem to have been exactly what happened here, Yod.
Yeah, if on one hand your company doesn't want their music being scraped for whatever AI learning purposes, on the other hand you can't go and use AI for a job that a human should be doing, whether it's concepting or in this case final product, or in the case of EA replacing all their writers with AI generated gaming concepts and story. Yeah. You can't have it both ways, companies.
By the way, final thing before we go to games of the week, the Cybertruck in both Fortnite and Rocket League is kill on site, apparently. So
Yes.
it's absolutely kill on site. I couldn't help but roll my eyes when I saw this crossover, and as it turns out, we weren't alone. Even employees that work on this were not happy, and they took to Twitter. They took to Twitter.
It did.
Yeah.
So I haven't been on Fortnite in about a week, and I think this just started last week.
Yeah, it started this
crossover.
week. Yeah, in both games.
So I'm probably gonna jump on right after this stream and go crash one. So.
I like the Fortnite UI artist, Toby Sparing. Toby's tweet said, I did the Quest UI art for this. While I'm proud of the work I did and that the team did, it's very disappointing we chose to collab with this product and company. And then somebody else from the Fortnite Festival producer, Kyle Wynn, reminded players that they should vote with their wallets on this one, and and reaction on social media is a tangible factor for Epic Games. Wynn also called out the Cybertruck as looking fucking silly before calling Elon Musk a piece of shit. And then Reckin' Robbie tweeting out, reminder that opinions are mine and mine alone, destroy on sight. Yeah.
You're killing me.
Yeah. It's dumb.
I don't know if I could even bring myself to jump in one in Fortnite. Like I can't. It's not me, but like I don't think I could bring my character to enter one. I don't know.
Just shoot it. Just destroy it.
Let's go do games of the week. Just to be clear, you don't have to buy it, Ninja. I mean, you can, but not yet. In both Rocket League and Fortnite, it's a reward for a series of quests that you do, and you get it for free. Once that event ends, which in Rocket League, I think it's August 6th. It may be the same date in Fortnite. I don't know off the top of my head. I don't play. Just don't quote me on there. After that, like August 7th, it'll be available in the cash shops if you want to go buy it. So you don't have to, like, when they say vote for your wallets on this one, at least initially, that's not what you're doing. But later,
Don't do quests.
Yeah, go do quests and
don't
earn
do
it.
them.
Don't do them. There you go. Games of the week is the way we end every episode of Gaming Gumbo here. It's where all three of us are about to recommend a game to you. Could be a board game, video game, card game, mobile game. Doesn't matter. Something we're playing, have played in the past, or never played before, but think you should check out. And you let us know in the comments below who gave the best recommendation, and why don't you recommend one to us as well. Yod, you're up first before you freeze.
Yeah. Yes. Go play Hi-Fi Rush. Yeah, been enjoying that one.
Such a good game. Dom.
Yes.
Mine, based on like our conversation we had last week, mine's going to be a little predictable, but it's going to be Hunt Showdown, just with the the upcoming changes coming next month. I'm very excited. Me and a bunch of coworkers have recently gotten back into it. We played last night for 5.5 hours. And I think we only lost 2 matches in the span of 5.5 hours.
You're getting not just the engine upgrade, but that same week you're getting the Wild West thing.
Yeah, we're getting a brand new map. Like the game has been like locked to Louisiana-based like swamp things, and we're heading into Colorado now, into the Rocky Mountains. We're going north, and they're doing some really cool features where they have like 2 different levels of terrain, where you can go on ground level, or you could go below ground and enter through mine shafts that open up to all different compounds throughout the whole map, so you could traverse almost the entire map underground. And it's going to bring so much new like changes in gameplay and styles to that. So if you want a little more information on that, I know Quinlan had posted an article on MMO Bomb. You guys could go check out.
Yep. Yeah, Q wrote that one up. I got to give my usual. The new set is coming out 1 week from yesterday. Final Fantasy trading card game. If you like Magic the Gathering, which is the most similar, I mean, in the vein of what you're going to play at a local store, whether it be Magic the Gathering or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or One Piece is really, really popular right now. Final Fantasy, right in that Magic the Gathering vein. Great trading card game. New set comes out this coming Friday, so that's going to be my game of the week. That's going to do it for us here today. No Torchwick after the show. We got a Final Fantasy tournament in Virginia tomorrow, so we're going to do some last-minute practice sessions tonight. But we'll be back next week, 7 p.m. Eastern. Until then, Yod, where can everybody find you?
OtakuDomeComic.com, Yacht Artworks on the social medias, and whenever the next show airs here on Check Raideo, Gaming Gumbo.
Dom.
You can find me down below at Itzista.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me right there at MagicMan1, but more importantly, follow at RC Radio on Twitter. I'm sorry, X. On Cybertruck X, and you'll always know when we're going live. Until next week, stay safe. We'll see you on the servers. Yeah, until August.